Hi, I'm Nancy Andrews along with Bonnie Stewart for This Week at CBIA. Bonnie, we finally had some movement on the deficit mitigation plan this week.
Yes, we're absolutely thrilled to see that the House moved on a deficit mitigation plan to cover the 2010 year deficit. On Tuesday, the Senate then approved it on Wednesday, and the governor signed it on Wednesday evening. So for 2010, between the actions that the governor took earlier on and the negotiated package, the 210 deficit has been resolved for now. Unfortunately, we still have a significant budget deficit for next year, and even worse for the following 2 years. So we're expecting a roughly little over $700 million deficit that still needs to be dealt with for the 2011 fiscal year, and then the next legislature will have to deal with one that's expected to be $4 billion for the following 2 years.
Okay, so that was some good news.
Yes.
But I understand that there is some bad news. There's a bill out there that would allow review of confidential tax returns.
Yes, unfortunately, the Finance Committee approved a measure that would allow this commission that they're creating, which is made up of labor, nonprofits, business, etc., a bunch of people that for the most part don't have any tax expertise, to review tax returns and the supporting documents. And that is a significant concern. You could have a labor union that you're negotiating look at your tax return. You could have a competitor look at your tax return. So that is extremely problematic. And Connecticut's businesses are extremely concerned with that bill.
Okay, and what about unitary, death tax, and energy increases?
Right now we're hearing that the legislature is still going to take up a tax package, that it will include, as you pointed out, the death tax, a hospital tax, as well as some other things. And that's a big concern because we just don't want to see any taxes increased right now. The hospital taxes will go right back to employers via higher insurance costs. And the death tax really hits small businesses extremely hard, family-owned businesses. So that's a big no-no. On the unitary front, there is a lot of talk about unitary, and the thing that's really problematic about that is how naive the proponents of that measure are. While well-meaning, they make comments such as, oh, well, if you have unitary in one state, it's not a problem having it in Connecticut. As though you could take a California tax return, cross off California, right in Connecticut, and you're done. It doesn't work that way. It's a very confusing law. It results in a lot of litigation and therefore lack of predictability, things that Connecticut does not want. So we will be working against those measures this week and next week.
Okay. And we've been talking a lot about the DEP regulatory reform. Where is that?
We had several bills before the Senate. The Senate this week actually moved those bills to committees that have to approve them. So we've got some bills in appropriations, Environment and Public Health Committee. We're urging the members of those committees to act on those bills right away and send them back to the Senate because we only have 2 weeks left in session. So there's not a lot of time to act, and we want them to move as quickly as possible because those are positive measures that could help give us some more economic opportunities and open the door to more jobs.
Okay, and the legislature is looking at an anti-business outsourcing bill.
Yes, unfortunately, another anti-business measure that would restrict where employers could source their jobs. That's always a big problem for a state like Connecticut because we export so many products and we actually import so many jobs right now. Connecticut is home to a lot of foreign companies and a lot of companies that are headquartered in other states as well. If we adopt these measures that are protectionist measures that kind of act like they're building a wall around Connecticut, that's a problem for us because it discourages companies that are not Connecticut headquartered companies from putting jobs in Connecticut. So that is another measure we'll be trying to stop to try to make sure that we can preserve the jobs we have.
Okay, and finally, workers' comp.
Workers' comp, as you know, has been a big issue for a lot of companies for quite some time, and even with the reforms, they find that they've got high costs. So we were extremely concerned by the fact that the Appropriations Committee earlier this week approved a bill, only by 3 votes, but nonetheless approved a bill that would significantly increase workers' compensation costs. That has now been sent to the Senate, and we will be working very hard to try to stop that measure there because the last thing either private sector employers or public sector employers in the state can afford is higher workers' compensation costs.
Okay, thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you.
As you've just heard, there are a lot of anti-business bills being considered in these last 2 weeks of the legislative session. So we urge you to contact your legislators, tell them to focus on jobs and the economy, and to pass a pro-jobs, pro-business bills that will actually help business. For more information, visit our website at cbia.com. Thank you.